A reader lives 1,000 lives before he dies. The man who never reads lives only one. This quote by George R.R. Martin really transmits the wonderful world that we can discover through books. I've always loved reading, so it's about time that I put together a reading journal. First, let me tell you about the notebook I chose. It's a ring binder, and as I was thinking about which layouts to use, I thought this would be perfect. It has different tabs and 4 different types of pages: blank, calendar grid, and dot grid. As I thought of taking the pages out and carrying them in the book that I'm currently reading for quick access, I got really excited to start using it. I love the cover. I think it goes really well with the idea of books being our ticket to many adventures, even outer space. But to start, I'm going to make a tag to identify the notebook, and I'm going to use sticker paper and stamps. As I do that, I want to tell you about my passion for books. As a kid, they were my constant companions. They really took me to other places and made me feel like the heroine of a great adventure. I devoured books as soon as I got them, and of course, I had my favorites that my parents knew by memory because I asked them to read them again and again. I honestly believe that those books were fuel for my creativity, not only because they put my imagination to work, but also because all those illustrations were my first encounter with art, and I was fascinated by all the different characters and styles. As time passed by and I grew up, I had to read books from the school syllabus. And though I enjoyed some of those books, sometimes I just felt I hated reading. It was only after my school years were over that I had free range to go back to the books I enjoyed. Having said that, I used to take some notes of those books in a notebook or different notebooks, in my agendas, on the same book, sometimes highlighting quotes or parts that interested me and then adding post-its for easy reference. It was only recent years that I started seeing reading journals, and I really wanted to take the time to make one. I'm not going to lie, I felt overwhelmed when I started researching ideas, and I was not able to find a layout that was simple and straight to the point. Most had too many coded colors for things like genres, or if it was a physical or a digital book, challenges to read thousands of books a year, works of art for each review, and so many other things that take far too much time, more than the one I want to dedicate to our reading journal. Inspired by a simple reading journal by Clever Fox, I came up with my own layouts, the ones that I feel I will enjoy filling and that will build a nice review library. And here is my first spread. This will be an illustrated index. I divided the calendar grid in 4 and used each rectangle to add the book's cover, the date I read it, my rating, and the page where I can find my review. I have assigned a purpose to each different type of page. I will use the grid for review questions, the blank one for a mood board inspired by the book, and the dot grid to write my favorite quotes. I love that I can carry these pages around with me in the book, rather than carrying the whole reading journal at all times. As I mentioned, Clever Fox inspired this journal, so the prompts that I added were taken from their notebook. These are title, author, genre, and then what I think of the book, what I take away from it, also the book's aim. How well did the author fulfill that aim? Would I recommend the book? Who is the target audience? And a 1-sentence book review. But now let's move on to the mood board. This can just be a collage, but when reading to find inspiration, it is a great idea to let your creativity shine and create what images the book creates in your mind. I thought it would be nice to fill at least one entry in the journal to show you how I want it to work. So I am using The Little Prince, which is one of the books I read last year. I wrote down a quote that I think is a very good summary of what I took away from the book, and then I used washi tapes and stickers to come up with a palette and an atmosphere that reminds me of how the book made me feel. Whenever someone asks me about what I think of The Little Prince, I can evoke this image in my mind and go from there. I also added one of the lessons that I reaffirmed while reading the book. Stay connected to your inner child. And I love these vintage stickers that a friend gifted me. They go really well with the overall look. So all these materials is all I'm using to come up with this little mood board that is filled with meaning. And now I will use the last page to add my favorite quotes. This is probably my second favorite spread after the mood board, because I have always loved collecting quotes. I used to have little notebooks filled with them and found that I was able to remember all of the quotes I put down in writing. Well, now I can have a reloaded collection accompanied by all about that book and gain further knowledge and appreciation for what the authors want to transmit. Finally, I'm going to go back to my review prompts and fill them out. It's nice to have the little prints fresh in my mind. Plus, I watched movies and documentaries on it, so the impact that it had on me was so strong that I feel truly connected to it. The grid pages have a little mood tracker on the top, and it's great for me to signal how the book made me feel. I colored the annoyed face by mistake, but it's nothing an acrylic white marker can fix. As I am filling these pages, I came to realize what a great thing a reading journal can be. The world around us can be so distracting that making time for intentional reading can be hard. And I say intentional because sometimes it can become an automated habit, especially if you're rushing to just complete a challenge or fill the pages of your yearly reading journal. That's something that I want to avoid. I want to just read with no pressure at all. So that's another reason why this notebook comes really handy. It doesn't have a deadline and I can keep on filling it with pages for years to come. As a book enthusiast, this reading journal will help me make the most of my reading experiences as well as deepening my connection with the material. And as you can see, I'm keeping it real simple. These layouts might still seem like too much to some, but just as I did with other ideas, take away what can help you, and if you want, you can start your own journal by just writing down your favorite quotes. And then you can add to that if you feel like it. I personally love my 3 small collections. They're, in my opinion, the best easy ways to reaffirm what I loved about the books so that it can stay with me and produce results, rather than just being forgotten on the bookshelves. I'm finally preparing some of the next entries, 3 pages each. It's really neat to have freedom to use as many pages as I want. Books differ in length and depth, so I might end up writing more than expected. This ring binder is definitely perfect. It's going to be interesting to see how many books it can fit before the notebook gets too thick. I got it at Miniso just because I loved its holographic shine and the cute space cover, but I had no specific use for it until now. And here's a final flip through of my brand new reading journal. Having laid out all the reasons why I think a ring binder is perfect for this, tell me in the comments your thoughts on it or which notebook do you use for your reading journal. I am very happy with its simplicity and portability. I really look forward to start using its pages, and I will of course be periodically giving updates on how it's going, which will also keep me accountable. The year is just beginning and I already feel all the support and encouraging comments. You guys truly keep me motivated. Subscribe to follow my journaling journey if you haven't done so, and so as usual, thank you so much for watching.